Hey there, Yogi Gang. This is Tom again from Southern California, and we're going to be doing some yoga today. Thank you, Yoga Assistant. This is Gus. So I sent an email out the other day kind of asking what kind of practices or workouts you're looking for between like a gentle yoga practice or a power flow akin to like an Ashtanga practice, a power flow vinyasa yoga practice, which is pretty challenging, I think. Yoga sculpt, which is one of my favorite things to do. Everybody kind of said whatever you'd like, but they had some preferences. Gentle was strong. One really interesting suggestion, which I really liked, was doing maybe a shorter version. So typically I go for about an hour, but sometimes we don't want to go for an hour. Sometimes we don't have an hour. Sometimes we need a little bit of a workout, but we want to get other things done in our day and our lives, or we just don't have the energy, but we know it's good for us, so we're willing to do, to contribute 30 minutes, 40 minutes to the endeavor, but maybe not more than that. So with that in mind, we're going to do a shorter practice today. It's going to be gentle. I'm going to use a bolster. I've got a strap foam that I'm going to use as well. If you don't have a strap, easy, get a belt, maybe a scarf. My other yoga assistant, Pip, thank you, sweetie. Belt, scarf, tie, something like that will work just as well. Or nothing, this just helps facilitate, and if you're pretty flexible or strong, I'll give you options for doing a posture without using the strap. I've got a block as well. I don't really use blocks that much, but for some of us, sitting, especially on the mat, it's nice and easy to sit on a block. Our posture is taller. Today in the gentle practice, we're going to concentrate a lot on hamstring work. I have been doing a lot of cycling these last 6 weeks or so, which I love. It's one of my favorite things to do. It's one of my passions is cycling. The thing is about cycling is it's a steady state, which is great for endurance, cardiovascular fitness and endurance, burning some good calories. We're getting hotter down here in the desert, so sweating a lot, kind of clearing out our pores. But it's not really helpful for hamstring flexibility. We hold a certain position, our hip flexors are moving in a very narrow range, so we're not getting a good extension. So we're going to focus a little bit on hamstring work today, okay? So that's going to be one of the things we're going to do. What I want to start out with though is have everybody come to standing on your mat. We're going to do a little bit of movement before we get onto our mats. We're going to start on our backs on our mats today, and I'm going to incorporate the bolster. But before we get there, I want to get a little bit of movement going. So typically when I teach a yoga in a studio setting, I'm teaching in a room that's probably about 80 degrees, even for a gentle practice. The warmth helps us kind of settle into our muscles, helps that blood get closer to our skin, which helps actually evaporate the heat. Our sweating mechanism does that. So in my house, it's probably about 77 maybe now, so it's a little cooler than I would normally do. 80 to 85 is where I start. So let's get a little bit of movement going. What I want to do is I want to rise with the ball of one foot and then switch to the other. Just bending my knees, nice and easy. Just kind of moving around. My feet are about hip distance apart, about the width of two fists. And what I'm doing is I'm toggling back and forth, kind of warming up my ankles, warming up my legs, warming up my hamstrings and my quads a little bit. A little bit of hip work as well. Just kind of toggling back and forth. Just kind of moving gently, easily. Drop both heels. Bring your palms together and just do this, what I like to call the wiggle waggle. It helps kind of loosen our wrists up a little bit. I love this if I'm doing an Ashtanga or a power vinyasa flow class. I'm doing a lot of down dogs. This is really helpful. Kind of loosen those wrists up. We bear a lot of weight on our wrists, and sometimes they're not properly warmed up. We're not going to do a lot of that today, but it's just kind of nice to hit some of these points, kind of go back and forth. And separate your hands and just twirl your wrists in one direction. Remember, yoga is about balance, so if we twirl in one direction, we're going to reverse it and twirl it the other way as well. And moving things about. Good. All right. Now, I'm going to grab my bolster. I'm going to lay it on my mat lengthwise. It's going to mimic a second spine for me. So I'm going to lay on my back, face up, supine version on that bolster. The idea is to open my shoulders up. So as I lay there, my shoulders are not supported, and it's opening my chest, letting my shoulders come back. For some of us who are like this, because we sit at a desk and we eat like this and drive like this is moving into extension, so we're finding neutrality in this posture. So if you have a bolster, grab it. If you don't have a bolster, don't worry, just lay on your back. Also, if you don't feel like your neck feels comfortable sort of dripping off the back of your bolster, scoot your hips down and support your neck. Or grab a second bolster, make it T crosswise and just rest your head on that. Or even using a block is perfectly fine too. So I'm just going to lay out here, lower myself down, and let my head just dangle off the side. I'm going to open my legs up like a letter V, just kind of giving myself more stability, more balance, and my arms are by my side. Thank you, yoga friends. As I sit here, I'm just going to kind of close my eyes and sort of settle into my breath. It's a little crazy these days, and our minds are going nutty. What's going to happen? How's life going to be when we get out of this? People are calling it a lockdown. I just find it a little bit aggressive to call it a lockdown. I like to consider it being healthy at home, keeping my neighbors healthy, keeping me healthy, and all those people dealing in the front lines, keeping them healthy as well. So breath is important to quieting our mind down. So go ahead and focus your mind on your breath. Seal those lips together. Just get a nice rhythmic inhale and exhale through your nose. It's going to create a nice flow and in and out through our nostrils. Just relaxing the breath, focusing your mind on the breath. My yogi assistants are kind of going nutty. Hello, yogi assistant. Keep belly down. Remember, our breath is deep and full, really opening and expanding our lungs. And again, the more we focus our mind on that breath, the quieter and stiller our mind becomes, and that's what we're looking for, is a nice, focused, quiet mind. It's hard to do. It sometimes works for me. It oftentimes doesn't work for me. I try my best. I struggle with it. But I do realize when I do focus my mind on my breath, I have a much stronger practice. I have a better workout. So what I want to do is I want to kind of just start wiggling your fingers, wiggling your toes. And then just gently bend your knees, bring your feet flat. With your hands, if you're using a bolster, sit up. You take that bolster and move it off to the side. Thank you, yogi assistant. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep my feet flat. My knees are bent, guys. And I'm going to lower myself all the way down that mat. Once I hit my back hits that mat, I'm going to draw my knees up into my chest, give my shins a big hug, and do a little movement side to side. Giving a little bit of a massage on that lower back, loosening things up. Good. I like to begin with a lot of good supported twisting. So drop your feet flat on your mat. Your knees are about hip distance apart, about the width of two fists. Arms on either side of you like the letter T, shoulders really connected to the mat. I'm going to have your legs in that staggered position fall to the left. Now, as you twist to the left, I want you to look to the right, so you're looking over that right shoulder. And just kind of hold this twist. It's staggered leg, so one leg's going to be closer to the mat. It's a little bit of an easier, gentle stretch to start with. And really getting these hips opened up. Beautiful. Let's go ahead and inhale, bring those knees back into that neutral position. Cast your gaze up to the sky. Just double check things, make sure those knees are staying hip distance apart. Again, arms out like the letter T for support. Now our legs are going to gently, in that staggered position, fall to the right, and we're going to look to the left. You're going to probably notice that on one side, you get a deeper twist than the other. I'm certainly getting a much deeper twist on this side than the first side. I'm right-handed, I'm right side dominant, but you might be surprised at which side of your body responds to various postures. Again, just holding that nice stretch. We're going to be stretching that side body. Breath is staying nice and deep and rhythmic. And then again, on that inhale, bring those knees right back up to neutral, looking up at the sky. Draw those knees back up on your chest one more time. Give those shins a big hug, a big squeeze. Roll gently side to side. Good. Do a little happy baby. I'm grabbing my big toes. I like grabbing my big toes. You grab the outside edge of your feet inside. Once you grab on, bend those knees and then just roll gently side to side. A lot of people do happy baby with the bottoms of their feet together. That's a perfectly great way to do it as well. So maybe play around with the differences and how that feels to you. You know, just gently go side to side, loosen that back up. Good. Now draw those knees back up into your chest, give yourself a tight squeeze, and then drop your feet flat. Knees are together this time. Arms, again, stretching out like the letter T, looking up towards the sky. Keep your gaze looking up towards the ceiling, and then as you exhale, have those knees, again, fall to the left. Now they're going to stagger on top of each other. And as you remember, we're keeping those shoulders, especially that right shoulder, anchored to your mat. Once you've got this twist, take those knees and draw them up towards your left elbow. So just bringing those knees closer to that elbow. This is called Master Abdominal Revolved Posture. It's actually a preparation for side crow. And I discovered that, and I kind of like it for a nice twist. It's a good next step after that staggered knee twist. Keep that breath strong and rhythmic. Beautiful. Inhale. Bring those knees back to neutral. Draw those knees up in your chest. Again, a good tight squeeze. Roll side to side. Then go ahead and drop those feet flat. Again, knees together, arms out like the letter T, keeping those knees on top of each other. We're going to exhale, and we're going to have those knees fall to the right, keeping our gaze up towards the sky. Again, once you get that twist, draw those knees up to that right elbow, holding our Master Abdominal Revolve pose on the second side. Again, breath is deep and rhythmic, nice steady inhales and exhales. And then we'll inhale and unravel that twist, and one more time, draw those knees up into your chest. Roll side to side. Good. Now go ahead and send your left leg all the way down that mat. I'm going to grab the big toe on my right foot, and I'm going to extend my right arm out to the side, and I'm going to take that right knee and cross it over. Again, I'm looking over my right shoulder. I'm feeling kind of flexy. I'm not quite sure how I feel right now. I'm going to take that bottom foot, this is my left foot, kicking it back, grabbing it with my hand and moving into a little bit of a pretzel shape here. We call it pretzel asana. Yes, we do, Gus. We call it pretzel asana. Can I scratch your belly? Yeah, thank you. We made that up, by the way. I think you guys got that. I know, you're such a cutie. All right, unravel the twist, draw those knees back up into your chest. Okay, I love you too. Hug them in. And this time our right legs can go all the way out. I'm grabbing the big toe of my left foot, crossing it over, arms out like the letter T, looking over my left shoulder, and kicking that right foot back behind me because I did it on the first side, moving my little pretzel on the second side. Again, keeping that breath nice and strong and rhythmic. Beautiful. Go ahead and unravel, draw those knees up into your chest. Go side to side, loosen up that lower back. And after about 3 or so rounds, going side to side, bring yourself to stillness. Let's change the direction of our roll. Let's go ahead and start rolling along our spine. And just give yourself about 3 big rolls, and on that third roll, come to seated on your mat. Now, I'm going to extend my legs out in front of me nice and long, a nice seated twist. Take my right knee, I'm going to bend it. Take my right foot, cross it over my left. My right hand's going to go behind my back as a second spine. Now, some of us like this posture a little bit modified. You can leave that left foot extended out in front of you, or kick that left foot back, and then take that left elbow, cross it over to your right knee on the outside of that right knee, and you're going to use that elbow against the knee to lever and rise that chest up and give yourself a twist. Maybe look off to the side, and maybe look behind you. Good. And then slowly go ahead and unravel the twist. Let's start by extending both those legs out in front of us again, and this time we're going to bend that left knee, crossing it over, and that left hand goes behind you. I'm going to kick my right foot back because I did it on the first side. And then my right elbow, again, crosses over the outside of that right knee, lifting that chest up, and exhale, twisting, looking off to the side, maybe going ahead and looking behind me. Again, the where you look depends on your neck flexibility. So if your shoulders, trapezius, deltoids are a little tight, maybe you're just looking off to the side, or maybe you're still looking forward. All that's perfectly fine. But giving yourself a twist, really pressing that elbow against that knee. And then we're going to go ahead and slowly unravel. Beautiful. Now, if you've got that strap, go ahead and grab it. I bolster out of the way, because I'm not going to use that too much later. Now, if you don't have a strap, no worries. We're going to do a little bit of a forward fold. So for some of us, we feel really limber. Thank you, yoga system. So we don't need a strap to help us, but some days we do need a little bit of a strap, especially the first forward fold, seated forward fold. Take my strap, I'm going to loop it around just the ball of my foot. I'm going to start by sitting up nice and tall. So when I hinge forward and get into that forward fold, I don't want to start hinging from up here, my rib cage, my intercostals, those are the muscles between our ribs. I want to go deep into my hips. Ideally, my hip crease is where I want to feel the fold forward. My back is going to round that lower back, but we want to get into it safely. So I rise up, and then I'm just going to gently start pulling forward using the strap, and then rounding my chin, tucking it into my chest. So I really want to just make sure I'm feeling the stretch all on my hamstrings. I'm going to feel a little bit behind my knees as well. And if you're already out there, you might not even need the strap. Just put it off to the side. If it's causing more trouble than it's worth, you don't need it. For some of us, depending on what you've been doing, maybe this is your forward fold today and the strap is really helpful to help you kind of get maybe an inch more into it, okay? Let's rise back up. I'm going to take my strap and I'm going to, on my right foot, just put it right at the ball of my foot, holding the strap in my right hand. I'm going to lower myself all the way on the mat and take that right leg and extend it all the way up to the sky. This is going to get, again, a good stretch in your hamstring. You're going to feel it behind your knee. But getting a good stretch and really flexing your toes back towards your shins. You can walk that hand up. Then take your left arm, reach it out to the side, and then take that foot with the strap, that right leg, extend it all the way out to the side. Try not to have your foot collapse onto your floor. Keep it just hovering above the floor. Hello, I know we're having such fun today. I'm keeping my gaze at my yoga assistant. Thank you, Gus. You're nutty. Try that. All right, let's go ahead and inhale, bring that right foot back up. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to change hands. So I'm going to grab my strap with my left hand, and then I'm going to move my yoga assistant out of the way, and I'm going to have my right arm out to the side for balance, and I'm going to take my right leg and cross it over my body, and again, pulling that strap slightly up, and keeping that foot hovering over my mat. Are you making the art? Is that what you're doing? Must be a connoisseur. I'm going to inhale and bring that leg all the way back up. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bend my knee, take that strap off, put my strap off to the side, draw both knees back in, go a little side to side on that roll, and that lower back, change the direction, roll up to seated, grab my strap again, or no strap again, your choice, always your choice on what we do with equipment. And I'm going to loop it around the ball of my left foot. My right is going to stay on the ground. My left is going to come all the way up as I lower myself all the way back down to my mat. Again, like we did before, we're flexing those toes towards our shin, getting, a nice stretch all through that hamstring behind those knees. I have my right arm out to the side for balance, and then my left leg's going to fall out to the side. And again, I'm hovering it just over my mat. Breath is steady and strong. I'm going to inhale, bring that foot all the way back up, changing hands, grabbing my strap with my right hand, moving my strap off to the side, and now my left arm out to the side for balance, and that left leg is going to cross over my body. Again, I'm pulling that strap up, sending that leg all the way out to the side. Beautiful. Inhale, bring that left leg back up. Now bend that knee, take that strap, unloop it, take your strap, move it off to the side, get it kind of out of the way, hug those knees back into your chest. Again, rolling a little side to side, loosening that lower back up. And then one more time, stop and change the direction of that roll. Roll up all the way to seated position. I am going to grab my block. I'm going to show you this posture with a block. Sometimes it's really helpful to do that. We've done a seated forward fold. Let's do another one without straps. So we're going to get ourselves grounded. Move that flesh away, that strong yoga booty out of the way. Arms reaching up, shoulders are relaxed. Again, going deep into my hinging into my hips. As I lean forward, I really want to feel like I'm grabbing way beyond those toes. So I'm reaching out across the street, then I'm cantilevering into that forward fold, seated forward fold. So reaching out, tucking that chin, and then maybe getting a little deeper into this forward fold. Good, let's slowly rise back up. Now, I want you guys to open your legs up like a letter V. It's what we call pancaking. For some of us, it's really, really helpful to have a block. And when I do this posture, I kind of have to go through a bunch of iterations. So what I want to do is I want to feel like I'm walking my hands forward. The block is here to maybe rest your forehead on the block. Sometimes if you're really feeling limber or flexible, especially as you stay in the posture, opening these legs up a little bit further, you can rest your hands on top of each other and your forehead can rest there like a little pillow. That's the goal, but some days I feel it, some days I don't so much. So I'm going to keep my block handy, open my legs up, and then I'm going to slowly walk forward. And again, tucking my chin. I'm using the weight of my torso to have opening those legs up a little further. And then again, if I'm using a block, I'm putting it right here. And you can set it a higher posture or even here. And all those are perfectly fine. And we're going to be here a while, so settle in as we do these long static stretches. After about 10 seconds, 6 to 10 seconds, our nerves start to shut off because we're not asking them to do anything for us. We're just elongating those muscles. This is actually damaging, micro-tearing these muscles, and that's what actually, when we rest and they start to repair, develops the strength and the flexibility. And our muscles have a great way of snapping back to their original position. It takes a lot to overstretch muscles to the point of rupture. Let's inhale, come back up to seated arms, legs still like a letter V. Maybe opening up a little bit wider. And then tall. And again, hinging forward. See if we get a little deeper into this pancaking, walking those hands forward. That feels good. Creating that little pillow with your hands. Back up. Leaving our legs out in this nice letter V, nice and tall. Now, I'm going to do a nice side bend. So I'm going to take my right hand, and you have a couple options here. You can place it in front. A lot of people put it off to the side behind them or off to the side here behind their knee. You take that left arm and reach it up, and then arc sideways. Try not to round forward. Keep that shoulder girdle nice and flat. So when we're standing and doing this, an easy way to correct for that is just to lift your chin up slightly. So I'm reaching up, I'm putting my hand out for support, reaching up, and then looking up towards the sky. And the longer I hold it, now some people can take their hands and drop them by their toes. I can't do that, but I really want to make sure I'm keeping my hips on the mat. So if I start to rise up here, I want to pull back. So up and stretching all the way through the side body. Good, inhale, rise back. We're gonna do the other side. So this time my left hand's gonna go behind me because that's what I did on the first side. Reaching that right arm up, really reaching up and then arcing over. And then again, just looking up, keeping that shoulder girdle nice and neutral, nice and flat. And again, take a moment to see which side feels a little bit more flexible. Beautiful. Inhale, rise back up. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my torso, I'm going to twist it to over my right knee. And I'm going to have my hands on either side, and I'm just going to gently start hinging forward. The idea is trying to get my forehead to my knee. It's not going to happen, but if you're very flexible and you're feeling strong, definitely go for it. To get there more easily, tuck your chin towards your chest. There is a lot of forehead to knee postures in the yoga world, and some of them are standing. This is a seated one. And I asked once, what's that about? And the answer is pretty obvious. To get that position, especially from a standing and a split leg stance, to get your forehead to your knee, you really have to tuck your chin. And doing so creates stimulation in our metabolism, our thyroid gland. This is also our throat chakra where we speak our truth, so there's a dual purpose there. So there's a lot of that going on in firing up metabolism. So hopefully you'll feel that in this stretch. So again, twisting, opening up my chest towards my right knee, tucking my chin, and then bringing my forehead towards my knee. Again, I'm going to stop when I feel this hip, my left hip, start to rise up. I don't want to compromise my foundation. So I'm just going to hold it. I find as I hold it, I feel like every so often I get a little deeper. Beautiful. Inhale, rise back up. Get back to neutral, looking forward, and then we're going to go the other way. So we're going to twist ourselves open towards that left, tucking our chin, and then exhaling, bringing that forward close to that left knee. And again, I'm stopping when my right hip starts to disengage, or starts to float up off my mat. If it does too much, just pull yourself back, rise up a little bit more. Beautiful. Inhale, rise back up. Leaving my legs open like a letter V, nice and tall. Again, we're going to pancake forward. Start walking your hands forward, maybe bring your elbows down, tucking that chin, and slowly see if you get a little deeper into this nice wide leg forward fold. Beautiful. Inhale, rise back up. Whoa! Whoa! Ow! Bring your legs together. Stand out in front of you nice and long. Again, nice and tall, arms overhead. Hinging deep, really throwing those arms out in front of you, going beyond those toes, another forward fold. Seated position this time. Exhale, release forward, tuck that chin. Again, getting that forehead close to your knees. See if you're getting a little deeper into the posture. Good. Now, look forward. So right now I've got my forearms on either side of my calves and I'm looking forward. I want to get a deeper stretch, especially in my calves right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my big toes. And you don't have to, if you want to just loop those hands over. If you're up here, that's no problem. You can still pull back. But I'm going to pull those toes back towards my face. And in doing so, I'm going to actually pull myself forward and I'm going to lift my heels and my ankles off the mat. What's going on is I'm really giving myself an awesome stretch in my gastrocnemius, it's called, your calves and your soleus, both are in your calf muscles. And I'm really feeling a stretch behind my knees. If there's any kind of discomfort and pain, don't do it. Just let it relax. This is a muscle that doesn't get stretched that often, our hamstrings will get stretched out often. And a lot of what happens in our core is that our hamstrings are weak and very tight, and our core makes up for it, especially that lower back, that lumbar region. And then we have all kinds of complaint there. So we're trying to find, again, balance between the flexibility in our back body, our legs, and then our core, our transverse abs. Good, rise back up. While doing those seated twists, so remember, we're gonna bend that right knee, cross it over. I'm gonna leave my leg extended in front of me this time, take my right hand, bring it behind me, left elbow across the outside of that right knee, rising over the chest, levering, pushing against it, looking off to the side, maybe getting a little deeper into that twist, and then maybe looking behind. Exhale, unravel. This time we're going to extend the right leg in front of us and work the left side. Left knee is bent, crossing it over. Again, right hand behind me is the second spine, right elbow to the outside of that left knee, rising up, giving myself a good twist, doing a little bit of a deeper twist maybe this time. Feeling the benefits of opening up our side body. Beautiful, slowly unravel. Now I'm going to bend both my knees. I'm going to take my feet off to the side. I'm going to shift myself into my tabletop position, hands and knees on my mat. Again, great time to look at your positioning. So knees about hip distance apart, about the width of 2 fists. We talk about palms under our shoulders. I see a lot of this, which is really too wide. I want to feel like all the joints in my arms, so my shoulder down to my wrists, elbows included, are stacked like in a nice tall row. For some of us, look at what's going on here and maybe bring your wrist to your knees and just move it forward. And you're going to find that it might be a little bit closer together than you've ever had it before. Let's do a little cow and cat. So let's exhale, round that back, and then inhale, release that belly. And again, exhale, round that back. Inhale, release that belly. Exhale, one more time, round that back. Inhale, round that belly. And we're going to come to that neutral position. And in neutral, I want you to feel like you're really pushing away from that mat. So here, I'm sunk into my shoulders. You can see the difference between this and this. This puts a lot of strain, and when we're doing a chaturanga push-up, or moving into up dog, that, or even just holding plank, that really creates a lot of instability in our shoulders, so get them active, pushing away. Now I'm going to inhale my right arm up to the sky, give myself another good twist. Holding strong. Let's hold for 2 breaths here, so inhale, nice full exhale. One more inhale, and the next exhale, bring your hand back down to your mat. Plant it, fingers wide. Again, we're putting weight on our wrists. That's why we did this to begin with, kind of loosen those wrists up. So we inhale that left arm up. Again, hold for a couple breaths. Good inhale. Another exhale. Inhale. And on that next exhale, bring that hand back down to your mat. Now we're going to thread the needle in this next round. So we're going to inhale that right arm up. And then as we exhale, take that right hand, sweep it under your body. Shoulder releases to the mat, crown of your head releases to the mat, and we're in a thread the needle. And again, a nice, good supported twist. And then let's inhale, slowly rise back up. Bring that right arm back up. Just give yourselves a little bit of a counter stretch here. And then exhale, bring that right hand back down to your mat. Inhale, left arm's coming up. And then exhale, threading the needle on the other side. Again, sweeping it under your body, shoulder, temple of your head, just holding it strong. A lot of people do little binds here if you'd like. That's perfectly fine. I don't feel very much in a bindy mood today, so I'm not going to do a bind. And good, slowly inhale, we're going to unravel the twist, reaching that left arm up for a counter twist. Exhale, bringing that left hand back down, a little more cow and cat. Exhale, round that back. Inhale, release that belly. Inhale, round that back. Tuck that chin. Inhale, release. Exhale, round. Inhale, release. Now come back to neutral. What I want you guys to do is take your right foot, step it forward between your hands. Now here, we're doing another little twist. Couple options here. If my left knee is on the mat, I'm going to shift some of that weight into my right hand. Left hand, bring my right arm up. If you want to do this in a little bit more aggressive or more challenging posture, tuck your toes under on that left side, lift that left knee off your mat, and then inhale that right arm up. Beautiful. Now let's exhale. Bring that right hand back down. If you're on that knee, that's perfectly fine. If you're extended out and more aggressive, bring that left knee to your mat. Inhale, both palms on that right knee. Exhale, shift yourself forward, a little bit of a hip flexor stretch. So as chest is up, not collapsing forward. And as we exhale, we're going to shift those hips back. I take my hands, I'm going to drop them back by my hips, and then once I get close, I'm going to drop them to the mat. My left toe can be curled under, or it can be flat, your choice. And I'm going to get my forehead to my knee. Again, we're moving into half monkey God. Nice. Inhale. Bring yourself back to that neutral position. Both hands are on either side of that right foot. Now take that left foot, curl those toes under, lift that left knee off your mat, step your left foot forward, step your right foot back, drop that right knee, hands on either side of that left foot. As we did on the first side, we're going to go back into that twist. If you elevated that right or the left knee on the first side, do it on the second. Inhale, left arm up, looking up towards the sky. And then exhale, bring that left hand back down. So like I did before, I'm going to drop my right knee. If your knee's already there, perfectly fine. Inhale, both palms on the left knee. And then shifting forward, getting a little stretch again in that hip flexor. So as nice and tall posture. Again, hands are going to drop back by my hips. Those hips are going to shift back nice and slow, nice and easy, stay in control. And then I had my foot flat on the first set, I'm going to drop it flat on the second. Moving into my half monkey God. And again, forehead is coming close to my knee. Now we're going to inhale. Bring ourselves back to that neutral position. Both hands on either side of that left foot. Take that right knee up off your mat. Step your right foot forward. Now, if you bring your feet together, your base of stability, it's a sort of term in the fitness world, is very narrow. So if you want to find a wider, more stable base, separate your feet about hip distance apart. Let the crown of your head reach to your mat, knees are bent. What I want you guys to do is grab opposite elbows. And actually the weight of my elbows is pulling my elbows closer to my mat. I'm just going to gently move a little side to side. Moving into standing forward fold territory. We've got a lot of seated forward folds to warm ourselves up. And this is just a little bit more challenging. This is called ragdoll. Again, a forward fold, which is known as uttanasana. If you'd like, you can walk both hands to the outside edge of one foot. And slowly walk them back around the outside edge of the other. I like to sometimes grab opposite elbows behind my knees. Again, letting my head just drag my crown of my head to the mat. Let the weight of my head help me out here, stretching my spine. And release both fingertips to the mat. Now, take a moment. If your feet are separated, which they should be, about hip distance again, keep those knees slightly soft. Feel your stability here. You can go back and forth, forward and back, kind of nice and strong. Now slowly, with your fingertips anchored to the mat, toe heel your feet together. So we've narrowed our base of stability, and I want you to see the difference. So I don't have much lateral movement here. And forward and back feels pretty much the same, but I really worry about my side to side. So this means I'm working a little harder. Now with my fingertips on the mat, or my palms on your mat, your choice, start to straighten those knees. And again, with the crown of our head reaching to the mat, we're standing forward fold.
Now for a lot of us, to get our foreheads close to our knees in a standing position, I have to actually grab on my ankles and force myself, almost in a modified gorilla. And gorilla, if you remember, is done a couple different ways. You can separate your feet, take your hands under your feet for anchoring them down, and then you're physically pulling yourself into this posture. In the Bikram world, you actually bend those knees and you cup your heels. So you take your hands from behind, cupping those heels. This is a little awkward because I'm standing on my fingers, so there's a lot of instability here. So I keep my knees bent to start with, tuck my chin, and then slowly straighten those knees out. Now ideally, my elbows are coming together or my forearms are lining up with my calves. That's the ideal. If it's not happening, don't worry. Beautiful. Now bend your knees and we're going to get out of gorilla. So if your hands are anchored from the top, lift those toes up. If you're anchoring in behind in your heels, lift those heels up, separate your hands out slowly. And what I want you guys to do is bend those knees, anchor your fingertips on your mat, little spider legs, and crouch into a nice deep squat. Good, nice and tall, perfect. Now, I'm gonna make a little bit of a shift here. I'm gonna orient myself more towards you guys. I'm in this squat. I'm gonna inhale, shift my hips back up. I'm gonna keep my knees soft and bent. I'm gonna open my heels up. So I'm gonna separate them and go to a nice deep malasana or frog squat. My feet are gonna kind of angle out at a little bit of a 45-degree angle. I'm gonna drop my hips. I'm gonna take my elbows on the inside of my knees and bring my palms together to touch. So nice and tall, try not to hunch over, keep it nice and tall. Key here is to keep those heels on your mat. And if you're feeling really, really flexible, take your hands, make fists, interlock your knuckles, and it feels a little bit deeper. Good. Perfect. Now release. So drop your fingertips back to your mat. Slowly inhale, bring those hips back up. Toe heel your feet back together. I'm going to re-modify. And I'm going to bend my knees. Fingertips are on my mat. Come into that squat one more time. Shift myself back to seated on my mat. Extend those legs out from me, nice and long. Another forward fold. Let's see how far we've gotten in this practice. A very short one today, really concentrating on twisting and extending our back body, especially those legs, especially those hamstrings. So inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, reaching forward, tucking that chin. Coming to that nice forward fold. And again, if you don't need to pull yourself forward, if you're getting there just using the body weight of your torso, leave your hands or your forearms on either side of your calves. Tuck that chin. Beautiful. Inhale, rise back up. Now, legs are straight out in front of us. Extend those arms out in front of you like the Frankenstein monster. We're going to slowly tuck our chin, and as we exhale, we're going to lower ourselves with control all the way down to our mats. Just a nice gentle C curve all the way down, using that core muscle system. Extend those arms overhead, a nice big full body stretch. And then draw those knees up into your chest, hug those shins, move a little side to side. Good. I'm going to actually shift myself forward a little bit. Let's play with plow. So I want to play with plow just before we move into sort of our final resting posture in Shavasana. Plow is a posture which we can do in a bunch of different steps. I'll show you the various steps, and then you take it where you feel most comfortable today. So to begin with, this is from a friend of mine in Northern California, and she's brilliant. I love her to death. She's really in the Pilates world, but this is a posture in a program she does called a primal movement. And it's about really feeling grounded and really stable. It's finding that stability and understanding how it shifts as we move postures. And that's a function of the center of gravity in our body. So to start with, legs are together, flex those toes up, forearms on either side, palms are face down. I'm going to press into my mat, flex those toes up. I'm going to tuck my chin, and I'm going to rise up so that my shoulders are off the mat. I'm looking all the way down my body. Next level, I'm going to bring those knees up. Now I'm going to press those forearms, those palms in a little bit more. I'm going to lift my hips up. Now my stability is shifting to my shoulders. We can slowly extend those legs out behind me. Then maybe drop those feet to the floor.
This is plow. Get out and plow. I'm going to bend those knees and slowly drop those hips back down. And I'm going to extend those legs out in front of me. My chin is tucked in my chest. I'm looking all the way down my body. Legs come slowly with control to my mat. Dropping back down. Open those legs up. Arms onto your side. Slow your breathing down. Let's take a few minutes for a nice restful Shavasana. Just letting everything kind of go. Feeling connected to your mat. Moving your body around, maybe in a way that you didn't do today. Especially if you're doing a lot of hiking. I've been doing a lot of biking, as I said, so this is really helpful for my hamstrings, my hip flexors. That's why we did those stretches as well. And twisting, such an amazing thing. Twisting really helps our thoracic spine stay nubile, fluid, contributes to a stronger posture, and of course, better balance. And then go ahead and bring those legs back together. Extend those arms up overhead, nice and tall and long. And then draw those knees up into your chest. Go ahead and hug those shins. Roll side to side. Loosen that lower back up. Take that right arm extended up overhead. Roll gently to the right side. And once you're there, just go ahead and push yourself up to seated mat. I like sitting on a block, so I'm going to grab my block. I'm going to go ahead and sit on it, crossing my legs. Nice and tall here. Perfect. So nice quick practice today. Really gentle, but nice to move around a little bit. So a lot of people did feedback, and it's something that I've been playing around and toying with, is doing shorter practices. I'm going to do a power. I'll get that posted up either today or probably most likely tomorrow. And the power is going to be about 45 minutes or so. So we're going to really get through it quickly. We're going to maybe shorten a number of the different postures that we use, but we might make them a little bit more complicated. And by complicated, I mean there's lots of levels to it. Standing forehead to knee comes to mind. There's a lot of levels to that. And so any posture we can take and kind of give it different grades. And you stay at the grade you feel most comfortable at. And then if you're feeling like it, you move a little bit to the next level up and you see where it happens. And if it's balanced posture, you might fall. And then you come back to join us, etc. So I'm glad you were able to join me. Bring your palms together. Nestle those thumbs right at heart center. Close your eyes. Just take a big, full, deep breath in. A big cleansing breath out. 2 more times. Big deep breath in. And a full breath out. 1 more time. Full deep breath in. And a full deep breath out. Beautiful. Blink those eyes open. You guys bring those thumbs to that third eye spot between your eyebrows. From my heart to yours, namaste. Thank you for joining us. I'll post this and we'll have some fun. Again, a shorter practice. Keep sending me back information on what you want to hear, what you want to see. Send me an email. If there's a posture you want to work on, one of the members talked about bird of paradise. Always a fun posture for our power flows. So thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will talk with you very soon. Thanks a bunch, guys.